Patrick Walsh here again, my brother and sister Americans of every race, gender, and ethnicity. Illegal immigration, it's killing people here, and it's killing people trying to get here. It's hurting our economy, our infrastructure, and endangering us to potential catastrophic effect. So, here's how we fix it, and here's also how we do the right thing together. Let's start with a couple of indisputable facts. First, illegal immigration compromises our national security, opening us up to potential terrorist attacks. Second, it also opens us up to all manner of crime, as we've all seen. Any American of any race, gender, or ethnicity who can't acknowledge that much, well, you're either not being honest with us, your brother and sister Americans, or you're not being honest with yourself. Protecting our citizenry is the #1 duty of government. And today, when it comes to illegal immigration, we're just not getting the job done. So here we go. Now first, I've got a bone to pick with the media and with politicians who try to divide us all on this issue. So let me quickly clear the air, my brother and sister Americans, and let's see if you feel the same way. So, she's African American. He's Latino American. Hey, she's Asian American. He's Italian American. He's Arab American. What the hell is that exactly? Do you resent being a hyphenated American? Do you resent the hyphenation of our identity as fill-in-the-blank Americans? Well, I sure do. Do you ever wonder why there seems to be a need now, more than ever, particularly on the left, to label our brother and sister Americans this way? Let's call it just what it is. It's a device. It's a strategy used by the media and by politicians to create division among us as Americans, to pry us apart from each other into factions or communities, so that instead of addressing issues like illegal immigration as a common interest, they convince us we have separate interests, and they set up their strategies and their agendas based on these alignments for the purposes of gaining political support and to generate TV ratings. Of course, this is un-American. It flies in the face of the unity our founding fathers intended for us all, as expressed in our Declaration of Independence, our Constitution, and our Bill of Rights. As a matter of fact, let me tell you what a former president had to say about immigrants and immigration, which I believe gets it right. Quote, "In the first place, we should insist that if the immigrant who comes here in good faith becomes an American and assimilates himself to us, he or she shall be treated on an exact equality with everyone else, for it is an outrage to discriminate against any such man or woman because of creed or birthplace or origin. This is predicated upon the person's becoming in every facet an American and nothing but an American. There can be no divided allegiance." He goes on to say, quote, "And we have room for but one sole loyalty, and that is loyalty to the American people," unquote. My brother and sister Americans, these were the words of Republican President Theodore Roosevelt back in 1907, who believed in inclusiveness and equality and said so. Given his words, do you think President Roosevelt would have described Americans as African American, Latino American, Asian American, or the smorgasbord of descriptions used today to separate us as a single people into competing factions and special interests? Hell no. He would have found it to be, quote, an outrage, just as he stated. I never thought of my Black or Latino or Asian brother and sister Americans as African Americans, Latino Americans, or Asian Americans until the media began using it as a political correctness strategy to divide us. To me, that goes completely against the spirit of what our founding fathers and citizens fought and died for in 1776. Think about it. If you travel out of the country and someone asks you your nationality, do you answer that you're an Asian American, an African American, an Italian American, or do you simply say that you're an American? Of course. I believe we're all brother and sister Americans, equal in our status as citizens, and no such distinction should be made, or we end up psychologically dividing ourselves as a people and a country. You've heard the phrase, "a house divided cannot stand." The politicians and the media count on this and profit by dividing us. So, let's tell them to cut it out, using our vote to move the politicians who race bait out of office. Okay, as Forrest Gump said, that's all I have to say about that for the time being. Now, Unless we're Native Americans, our families before us immigrated to these shores, choosing to become Americans. That's mostly all of us. So of course we embrace our national origins and cultures, and that will always be part of our American DNA. It adds richness to the fabric and strength of our society. But it doesn't change the fact that we're Americans, a single people with many backgrounds, united together, who embrace the history, heritage, hopes, and dreams of our country and its founding fathers. And we've made America's ideals our own. So now, beyond the security and safety concerns I mentioned earlier, why else do we have to fix the illegal immigration problem? Well, one, our health and social services are being overburdened and are collapsing under the financial strain of it. Two, our public education system is overburdened, resources are in short supply, and parts of it are overcrowded or even forced to alter curriculums as a result of the illegal immigration impact.